begin just right away, or
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah. Alright, so we got the patch notes up yet?
Yep, they are
Yeah.
in the middle of the screen right now.
Should move it a bit more to
Okay.
the middle.
I guess I'll just bring them up separately because obviously if I try to talk about it while looking at the stream, it's going to be delayed.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. The first changes we've got we'll go through general, so probably not much we have to comment on here. Players can now click on the name of a card, so that's basically just letting you, when you're going through the deck editor, I'd imagine. I don't know if you could do it during the game, but it will then show you, like it already worked on a certain amount of cards. Where you could see, for example, like with the ancestors chosen, you'd be able to see what a specter is, where it shows you that the text that'll now work, I'd assume, on that card as well, because that was one of them that wasn't working. So it's not a really big deal, but that's obviously helpful for new players. The friends list, just a few more fixes there. Tool tips, bug reporting, feedback, response sound. Now I assume that's probably going to be to do with the response feedback sound for the sound effect volume. So that hopefully is to do with the combat damage sound. Hopefully that's what that's referring to. What else we got? Just a few card change names. So Inspiration Engine has been renamed. What else we got?
like the new name a bit better. Ingenuity Engine.
Yeah,
More sense.
it does make more sense. So I'm just going to actually pause my
Also,
downloads on Steam. There we go.
Shinhair Highborn is now a Shrimpkin, so you
Yep.
won't be getting any buffs off your commander on him.
Yep, that is true.
And then I think that's about it for general.
Yeah, there's not
Nothing else
really...
too relevant. I mean,
Not much.
Eldritch Shield is Arcane Shield now,
Yeah.
so no big deal.
And I mean, the carrion
So-
blob thing may have some sort of effect later on, but I think it's just trait lines, so that's probably, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, new cards. Let's start them
Yeah,
off.
new cards.
So,
The actual exciting stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll
the
start with the
exciting
new
stuff.
cards, so I guess I go to the preview. We can do it later if not.
Yep. Just click on the first one, and we'll
No, there
talk
we
about it.
there we
Are you
Sorry.
just scrolling down
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
just scrolling down.
where it already has them.
Oh, okay. They're down the bottom, are they? I see. That's fine.
All right.
All right, so the first one, Manti Elder Druid, is a 5-cost 2 wild threshold card. It's a 4/4, and it's when this troop enters play, you may revert target troop. So first glance for me, I think it's probably going to be. I mean, it's still a 4/4 for 5, so that's that's okay. I don't know. I don't like it too much at first glance. What do you guys think?
It's
I think
one
it's
of
playable.
the rare. It's one of the rare options you have in WoW to actually revert a troop.
Yeah.
That's like the only card that can revert a troop in the wild color. That's true, I guess.
Yeah, pretty sure this is the first time Wild has gotten
So-
a revert.
Yeah.
This is some this leaves some more space for options.
I mean,
here.
for sideboard, yeah. For sideboard, I wouldn't really,
Yeah.
You wouldn't main deck it.
The more
Because
of you-
otherwise you
Yes,
could be just,
not really worth it.
you'd be otherwise left with a 4/4 for 5, and that does nothing if they're not running like something like a totem that they're just buffing to crazy levels. I mean, I guess it does work. There's lots of things that would work nicely on, but again, it's not really you wouldn't main deck it.
Yeah, the main combo that I see with this is against diamond decks that you play Fist, that they conflict it, and you just play the Manti and revert your own Fist, and they are really in deep trouble because they have no other way to deal with it.
Yeah.
But the revert is really strong in general. There are a lot of stuff that you can revert, like Rage from Orcs and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. The only
It'll be
downside-
playable, but definitely not a
Yeah.
big player or anything.
It only reverse troops, so we cannot revert the crowns or the incantations to get the counters out. So that's a little bit of a downside.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So does anybody else have anything to say about that? I think we covered it pretty much.
Yeah, there's not much to really say about it.
Yeah,
It's very
it's pretty simple. card.
situational. Can be good, can be very bad.
Yeah.
Very situational.
The next card I'm pretty excited about.
I agree.
All right, so
Then
the next card, let's get into it. It is Drew's Colossal Walker. So this card's been revealed in the past. Do we want to actually? I can't see the stream, but yeah, do we want to actually zoom in so the text is easier to read for people? Just do that. Like I'm doing that myself as well.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah, me too.
doesn't actually let me. I guess I have to
may
scroll
have
up
to
and just
resize
use
this.
the.
I guess.
Yeah, just scroll up.
I mean,
I think
yeah,
just
I
scroll
will
up to
just
the
scroll
cards
up.
names
Yeah.
and click on the card, because then you've got the text is a lot easier to read. So from what I can see, it is still pretty much exactly the same as it was previously revealed. So yeah, it's still an 8/8 for 5, so very nice. It's got Crush, and it has to attack it each turn. The downside is that it cannot ready during its ready step, so it'll pretty much stay tapped. You can, however, pay 8 health to then ready it. If you're not guaranteed to win just by doing that, then by all means do it. Otherwise, you've got many other options to untap it with things like you got the Champion, the One Eye Open. You've got what's the artifact called?
Turbine engine.
Yeah, Turbine
the
Engine.
Dwarven Turbine.
Turbine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
I'm
probably
looking
other things
forward
as well.
to playing with this one for sure. Probably in Wild, maybe Diamond for the One Eye Open, and the Howling Braves.
You could use this card just as a full blocker, and it won't have any
Well, it must
any
attack each
negative
turn.
Yeah, it has to
effects.
like each
Like,
turn.
this
You
is
cannot
an-
use the other blocker.
This is in 5 cost, 8/8 blocker, for example, for Fist or for any of the incarnation cards, except for the blue one, of course.
What are you doing,
but,
Indomi?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know what
like
you're doing.
Yeah, it's a
you
little
can
bit
do a lot of
crazy.
stuff with that.
If you go back to the patch notes
Yeah,
and
if you
just
go
left
back to
click
the
the
patch
card,
notes,
it'll
you'll see.
open it in full, like it'll zoom in.
Yeah,
So
if
in
you
that
zoom
way,
in on the card.
you don't have to
Okay.
It's still
right
in
click
the
and
list.
open in a
Okay.
new tab.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
making it all complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so in my opinion, this is a very good troop, a very good addition for all the robot decks, the artifact decks. This can be it's 5 cost, which is not that much for an 8/8. It's like very cheap.
Definitely. not.
If you don't attack with this, you have a very good blocker, and you even got the option to attack with this, like for the final blow. So this is a very good card in my opinion.
Yeah, and with the changes to Murder, which we'll get to soon, well, I might as well say it now. Basically, Murder can now no longer target artifact troops, making this even better. But then also, Kaloki has mentioned in the chat, you can chuck Blood Ore on this guy, and then you're just laughing, because not only will you gain 9 health every time you swing in with Crush, you're also then able to just pay for the effect to untap it if you've got no other means to do it, which you may not if you're running Blood, for example, unless you've got the Dwarven Turbine or something like that. But yeah, that's actually would be
Basically,
pretty nice.
there's going to be a lot of new decks just built mostly around this guy.
Oh, this guy for sure. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, if you are playing
Like
Wild,
already-
for
I'm
example,
definitely looking forward to doing that myself.
Like you could run, for example, like if you were to do Blood and you have Blood Aura, you could also run things like Call to the Grave. So if they do actually kill it, you just bring it back and you're like, "What's up?"
He's going to be
back on the board.
very hard to remove.
Yeah.
Without
Exactly.
Extinction, I think Extinction and maybe Nature's Reigns or whatever
Yeah.
is going to be like the only things to deal with this. Of
Yeah.
course, Chaos Key, a bit of a slow answer, but it'll get there sometimes.
Yeah, it's still counterable by all the cards except for Murder now. But it's still like any other troop. You can inner conflict it, extinction it, whatever. There are many ways to get rid of it, but especially with the Murder change now, there's one of the main cards to get rid of this is not more existent in some ways. So this is a very good troop overall, I would say.
Definitely be giving him a go with Lord Alexander.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
say that for sure.
the thing is that you can also give it a steadfast, and you don't have to pay anything to untap it, because you are not going to tap it when
That
you
is true.
dies. So it's also another combination.
Yeah,
Also,
you
you are
could-
playing.
You could run it with the Inspire Steadfast troop.
Yep. That's another option.
Also, if you are playing Wild,
good stuff.
you can play Pact of Life and just counter it. You can just attack every turn, and you get 3 lives for every land you play, well shard. So you can also do it that way, or with the Rain in the Air. Because this card kills in 3 attacks, pretty much. And if you drop it in like a Ram Dev and you drop it turn 3, they're dead by turn 6 or something. So you can just pay the life without worries.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a strong one and a hard one to deal with, and we're definitely going to be seeing a lot of it, especially today and the coming, probably the whole week. I would say it's going to be quite prevalent, and probably also in the tournament as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see it because yeah, it is just really tough to deal with.
Yep.
So, anyone else got anything else to say on this guy? Oh, we got Peak.
Covered
Oh,
about all of
Jesus Lord.
Yes, we got Peak.
I just noticed that then. Oh, that's beautiful.
Taking a peek
Well,
ahead.
but Pig is farther away.
That's-
We have all other cards.
Yes, I know. I just noticed it there because I saw someone mention it in the comments. I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder why they're talking about that. And yeah, I had a peek at the notes, and oh boy, that's exciting. Anyway,
Since we are talking about it, we could skip to Peak and then go back to Yurig.
It's up to you guys.
Okay.
Might as well.
You are
Click on Peak then.
so
Let's-
spoiled, Havok.
Let's do it.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome. That's awesome. So let me actually bring that
Yeah,
up
this
myself.
card is insane.
It really is. You go ahead. You tell us what you think about it.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
if
fact
you're
that it's a
playing-
quick action
sorry.
as well. So, I mean, it's a 2-cost, 1 threshold Sapphire card. Look at the top card of your deck, equal to the amount of Sapphire threshold you have, and then put one of them into your hand and shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. So, this is one of the first shuffle effects that we even have. Do we even have any other shuffle effects right now? I don't think we do in the game.
No,
I'm
that's
pretty
for-
sure there. I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they
are
might
not
not
double
say-
effect
that's
on these patch notes.
That is like
Most
the
of
most
stuff.
minor point about it.
But yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
I
Basically,
think this is the first
get-
time I read actually shuffle your deck. But
Yeah, this is the first
I
time
mean,
I've
there
read
is other cards that do shuffle, like once they go, like escalation
sure.
and stuff. But yeah, it might not
Right.
mention it.
But anyway,
they do-
even on something like turn 2, this card is really good. But mostly you'll be playing it until into the later game,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to look at 5, 6, sometimes even more cards. Pick one of them, and put the rest into your deck. And it's even a quick action to go with that, so you'll be able to still leave up counter magic on the same turn as well.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh yeah, that's
really
that's great.
ridiculous.
Yep.
This is really good.
Yeah, and at
So,
the very least, it's
nothing
also
to say
just
about
a
that.
cantrip. If you are
And-
like a
and
stack
especially-
on it's something, you can just play it and for 1. Well, if you only have 1 Sapphire and you're playing a 12-color deck, just draw 1.
Yeah.
Especially you can this card is like getting closer to all the good cards in your deck because it's like decreasing the size of your deck. When you play 4 of those, your deck is basically like 56 cards.
Yeah. I mean, you could run this, run Oracle Song, run Bottles, and just like thin your deck out.
That's-
It's so crazy.
yeah.
But
That's,
all-
Yeah, I mean,
that's
cantrips
pretty
are
hard.
always good.
yeah.
When you can just trade one of your cards to draw a card, basically. And then the fact that this gives you so much card selection as well. It's just,
Yeah, this is
It's gonna be
as
really
to
good.
my Armada deck.
Oh, for
But the
sure.
only
And
problem
if-
for your Armada deck is
Yeah, it's going straight
put
to
one of them into your hand. This
Yeah,
is
it's not
draw.
draw. It's not draw.
Yeah,
but it's still.
but it doesn't matter because it gets you faster to your Armada. If you like on turn 4 play it,
Yeah,
you have,
Yeah,
you have 4
especially-
chances to get
True.
it, or to have an Oracle
Yeah.
Song after it. So it's really really good.
yeah. And even if Mono Sapphire was not good enough already, this is going to be one of the staple cards in Mono Sapphire that is going to make Mono Sapphire just, it'll make it tick. Like,
Yeah.
it'll smooth out everything.
And not only can you leave up counter magic, you can also have time ripples available. So you just have like 3 options just sitting there. It's like, which one do I want to do this time? And then, it's just many options for yourself, which is always, having more options is always a good thing.
Yeah.
So there's,
So, sure, we could talk about stuff to do with Peak all day.
yes,
but
we
should
should.
probably move on to the next card.
Next card.
So
pick
we
up,
go to Yurik?
So
Yurik.
back to Erecta Romancer.
Yep.
So I
Right.
will just start here. So this is one of the unique cards from Sapphire, which is like there are which card of Sapphire is unique? There aren't many. And this is a good addition for the whole dwarf artifact deck, like the Druze also, because you can play that guy on 4 coast, which is pretty high for dwarfs, but the effect is just huge. You can basically you will have worker bots in a dwarf deck, and the time you play this guy, the next turn you will get a war bot, then you will get a war hulk, and so on. So this is a very good addition for all the dwarf decks, in my opinion.
It definitely
This-
looks nice. They've definitely changed this, haven't they? This wasn't like this in the past, right?
Yeah, I think they've changed them around a little bit.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm worried about is it is a 4-drop 1/2.
Yeah,
Which is
I mean,
not
that-
impressive at all.
Still, it's like Mm, I mean, even if it was a 3-drop, like 3 health, it's still, Persecute still deals with it at the end of the day. I mean, you're
Yeah,
not really.
Persecute. It
He's
can
not.
die to a 1-mana burn.
Yeah, I know. I
All
mean,
that.
that's obviously relevant, but the effects are pretty damn strong. You can't.
Yeah, the effect is strong. I won't
Yeah,
deny that.
It's pretty damn
for sure.
nice getting especially if you're running the Workerbot champion, which obviously you would if you had this guy. You just start getting warbots, and then you can turn them into warhogs. It's pretty nice.
But it can
And
be
then-
removed on the turn is played, and that is so terrible for the player that is playing this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, for a full cost,
I don't like
it's-
him too much. I don't know that the Warhooks are really strong right now, that don't have to persecute anymore nor murder, so they are really strong overall. 5/5 with Crush.
What's Warbot? I can't remember the
Warbot is
stats.
the
One
one
thing
that
I'm worried about too is
3/3s for
go
Recosted.
ahead and finish.
Oh, right, that guy. Yep.
One thing I'm worried about though is the fact that they can negate your entire turn with him by just removing whatever you're targeting to transform in response before it gets bigger,
Yeah.
and then nothing. Like you lose that whole turn, and I don't know. I think he's just a bit too weak.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah,
need
the
to have
stats are
more toughness.
very
to-
weak, but
truly.
if you're playing a dwarf deck, you could easily sideboard that guy because if you're not playing Ruby or
Yeah.
Blood, then it's very
Yeah, if they
hard
don't have an
to
answer
deal with
for
it.
him, he gets out of control pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah,
So-
then if you don't
That is
have an
one.
answer, like if you're playing, for example, a mono diamond deck, mono blood deck, mono sapphire deck, or whatever, cannot remove that guy, then it will be pretty hard to deal with.
The one
Alright.
thing I like is that
Well,
he can make worker bots out of thin air, which is like a
Yeah, he
cheaper
does
factory.
get to just make it work out of
Yeah.
the turn.
Yeah, so if you have Volcano, you can
Yeah.
just spam worker box to the end of the days.
Yeah, that'll probably be his most useful form in
Yeah,
reality.
some machinists out, Volcannon, just start spamming them.
Yeah.
It's not bad. All right, next card. Unless someone else
Yeah.
has something else to say.
Well, if they had someone else to say,
No.
it's too late.
Too late. All right, next card.
All right. So, the Oken Cemetery is another one I'm looking forward to. It's a
Ceremony.
one-cost ceremony. Cemetery, same thing.
Not quite.
Anyways, one-cost, single threshold for wild. It's a basic action, and you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put a troop from among them into your hand, and then shuffle the remaining cards into your deck. Oh, that's interesting that it is shuffle.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
changed a lot of the stuff in the patch notes, and most of them now shuffle. I read that they
That is
shuffle.
good. I'm wondering. We're probably going to have a bunch of cards that say shuffle now that are tweaked from earlier that are
Probably,
not included
yes.
in the patch notes.
There's
but
one
anyway,
interesting
This one.
There's
going to
one
be sweet.
very interesting card combination with this. The Wild Boar. The Wild Boar can be pretty good with this card in combination. Like if you
that's a good
play the
point.
Wild Boar
Yeah.
and you attack with it, you will get an 8/8 speed creature. But to redraw it, it's very hard to redraw it. But if with this card, let's say you have 2 of those in your hand, you have like 10 cards to see on your deck, and one is probably the Wild Boar. So the Wild Boar will be pretty much viable with this card in combination, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I
So-
like this card on RAM decks, on mono green RAM decks, because if you don't draw
Oh, yeah, super.
something big on the first turn and you draw something like this, you don't have anything in your hand, you can choose whatever you want. For example, now we are also probably going to see a lot of more Eternal Guardians in mono green and stuff like that. So you can just choose the creature that you want to for that matchup. For example, you have like Feast, Beetle with Explosive and Guardian on the 5 draws that you get, and you can choose whatever you like for the deck you're playing against. Which means that
One
you
thing I have to note.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
it's just that you can just choose and it's just get up to your big truths faster.
Yeah, well,
One thing I
obviously,
have to-
you have to pick out what you need for the situation is obviously a very powerful effect. If you're about to die and you've got the resources to live, if you have a guardian, you can just grab it. Obviously, that's very nice. But also just being like, okay, well, I've got the stuff ready for a fist. Let's try and get him. Is also very nice. It's definitely going to be something you see in a lot of decks that are running wild. Especially if they're troop heavy, you're going to always pretty much include this card into the deck.
Yeah.
And again,
it is another reason to go wild with Drew's Walker. Just want to say.
Yep, it is another.
and again,
reason.
this is like another card to get your deck smaller, which is always nice in my opinion, because the smaller your deck is, the faster you will get to your better troops, and this is like even a sort effect. Like you can select the card, a troop of your deck.
Yeah, this is
So,
this is
And
like
it's one
wild
cost,
speak.
so it's very pretty much free.
yeah, yeah.
So it's very nice
Also,
effect.
it's like a cantrip effect on Wild, and Wild doesn't have much cantrips effect or draw at also.
Yeah,
As long
now
as you're
with
really
that and
creature heavy.
senseis, it's
Yeah,
gonna
you're
be,
good to go.
that's 8 cards basically you don't have in your deck just with those 2 alone. So that's pretty
is-
damn nice.
Is very splashable with only a single threshold cost.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next card
Okay.
we've got is Lord Benjamin the Wise. It's a Sapphire. He's a human mage, unique. He's a 2-cost, 1 Sapphire threshold, and he's a flyer. He's only a 1/1, which is pretty damn weak, obviously. But when he deals damage to an opposing champion, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you get to put a human from among them into your hand, and then you shuffle the remaining cards. So again, there's that shuffle mentioned. But yeah, the thing with this guy, oops, I actually closed the window there. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to be running basically a full human deck to make use of this if you're going to have 4 of him, or otherwise he's pretty much garbage.
If you're playing Inspire deck, I guess he's made for playing Inspire decks.
Yeah,
Inspire
I
decks
mean,
is perfect.
Inspire decks, that'll be really nice.
Yeah, but you also have to be careful because some of the cards that are inspired got nerf dispatch too. We'll get that in there later. But some of them got their defense nerf and so on. The only inspired card that got buffed, if I remember correctly, is the Legionnaire. So yeah.
Yep.
It is still good because it's whenever it hits, you just draw you a card and has evasion.
Oh, I mean, obviously he's very deck situational.
You have to build
you've
the
got-
deck
you need
around
to
him,
build
but
the-
he's still.
You need to have
So-
an entire human deck.
And I mean, at first glance, most people would probably think, well, he's a 1/1, bleh, he's just going to get blocked. But I mean, if you get him out turn 2, then you're likely going to be able to at least hit him once before they get maybe a flyer in response.
And a lot of decks don't even have flyers.
Exactly.
Yeah, also
a bunch of ways to deal with
really
flyers.
important thing about this is that the Inspired deck lacked card draw. Was one of the main issues. That it lacked card draw, and you didn't have any card draw at
Yeah.
all.
And the
Is-
good thing about the Inspired deck is you pretty much just have all troops.
Yeah, and with this guy you
So-
get the card draw from it, so it's really good for that kind of deck. But yes, it's just only good for that kind of deck.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty strong, and it's just what Inspire needed. The thing is, I still don't know if the Inspire is going to be triple colored because all the humans are splashable or not. I have to think about it.
It's something worth trying out, and definitely probably the Inspired deck is where I see him being a key component for. Other than that, it's going to be a bit iffy. Anyone else have anything to say about him?
I think we can check out the
All
next
right,
guy.
let's go to the transforming diamond. Diamond card. Ascetic Aspirant. He's a 4-cost. Wait, is that right?
Yeah, 4-cost double threshold. That's not
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
at all.
So yeah, 4-cost 2 diamond threshold, and you tap him to transform into a Lightened Seeker. So he starts off as a 3/4. So that's not bad. He's going to be hard to deal with. Persecute and all that sort of stuff. Can't get rid of him.
Yeah, but the transformation can die to persecute. I will put it right.
Sorry.
there.
Yeah,
The
the
transformation
transformation.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
nice.
is a
exactly.
0/1.
that's the bad thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not really looking forward to this card at all, I must say.
Well,
I mean, if you
you've
do-
got to remember though, if you're in Diamond, you've got things like Stone Skin and Soul Marble and plenty of ways to protect him.
But
Oh,
the main thing is really, it says you can't play cards on the second transformation, which
that's the
is
huge
huge.
point. Yeah.
And then
That's
it says
very hard.
you do get to draw an extra card during your turn, but you have to have 7 or more cards in your hand to transform him.
Yeah, that's
And
obviously
getting-
a big problem because if you have to answer certain things and do other stuff previously before
Yeah.
playing him, then it's
And
likely
before
going to be
you get up
stuck
to
for a
7
couple of
cards.
turns. So
Well,
it is definitely going to be hard to do. I mean, you might have to do Sapphire Diamond.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Sapphire Diamond could work out nicely.
that was going
And,
to
yeah,
go.
you still-
I hated this card when they revealed it, and I thought that it was. Yeah, it's amazing if you got it
I
out, but it was
guess-
pretty much impossible to get it out because this transformation is so weak. But now
Yeah, I guess
it's really good. For example, with the Armada deck. Because if you got Armada and you play this, you get the Armada really, really fast, and you don't need to play anything else. You just one-shot them with Armada in like one turn. Because you draw another
I
card.
think you.
So the card,
But
the
seriously,
card has
I guess
potential.
this card is like impossible to play if you're not splashing with Sapphire, because Sapphire gives you the extra card draw you would need for that,
Yeah.
and especially you need counter magic because there's so much removal and like again, one burn would kill it, a persecute, a murder, whatever. So many cards would kill it so easily. So you have to get a counter magic up for that to protect him, and
Or Stone
especially
Skin.
the card draw.
The thing
Also
you're all
skin, yes.
forgetting is that you don't need to transform it. You can just stay at a 3/4 or 4, and
You
just
could,
the moment
yeah.
you have 6 cards, or you can just tap it and transform it right away.
Oh, yeah,
So you
that's
don't
that's a
need
good
to
point,
have
yeah.
the second transformation. You can just stay on the first one, and if you see like you
Yeah.
have completely board control or something, you can transform it. You don't have to transform it right away. You can
Yeah.
just wait.
You can wait till you've got like Soul Marble online or something like that.
Yeah, so Marble,
and then do
or
it.
you have like Oracle Song and 5 cards or something like that.
Yep.
You don't need it to transform it right away. You can just play it a 3/4/4, which is below curve, but it has the potential to be like really, really good.
So I think the third image, the final transform state, is not loading. Is that right?
Yeah, the third image does not load up right now.
But
Alright, so
but I can tell what it is. It's a 4/4 that whenever you draw a card, instead of drawing a card, you look for the card you want in your deck and you put it in your hand instead.
Is that only on the draw step though?
No, it's with every draw, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
So that's
if
a
you
huge
get it
effect
represented
that you
out, it's game.
choose a card.
Yeah, if you get it
That's-
represented out, it's game. Pretty much.
That's
Yeah.
like because if that's on any draw, that's like you
Yeah, it
could
is any
run
draw.
like that's just bonkers. Like every time you Oracle Song, you're picking 2 cards, and then every time you could run things like if you had some Chosen with Spectres, every time you're playing them out, you're just picking what you want and like pick more Spectres and more Spectres.
The
and more
moment
Spectres.
you get the moment
You
you
just
get it
take your whole
represented out,
chain.
if they don't remove it that turn, which they probably can't because they
Pretty much,
it's game.
you pretty
The
much
thing
just
about
win.
this is that you can play it just because of that. Because if you transform it, it's game. That's the other thing. That is why this card is playable. If the Transcendent wasn't that good, it wouldn't be worth playing it. But as the effect is so good and it's the only total effect we pretty much have in the set 1.
And then you can always then have something like a one-off resurrection, and that way if he does die at some point, you just get him back later on
Yeah.
potentially.
Also, the thing is that after the first turn you transform it, you can just draw like a Stone Skin from your deck to make it or
Yeah.
something like that. So you just wait your first draw to protect him, and that's just bonkers.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a lot of fun to play around with.
But
Alright.
I thought that this card was really, really, really unplayable. Not unplayable, but almost unplayable when they revealed it on the Kickstarter. But yeah, with if you play build a deck around him, you can
Oh, yeah,
easily
you-
get it
you need to-
pretty easily. Well, not pretty easily, but easily enough.
So apparently someone's webcam is stuck.
Maybe because I
Everybody
was
webcam
minimized.
sucks.
Oh, I guess so.
I was in.
No,
Yeah,
you already minimized us.
Yeah, because I was checking the Transcendent so much. Oh well.
Alrighty, so let's move on from him and start talking about the other patch changes. So with gameplay, constructed plans Warhawk and constructed plans Ingenuity engine are no longer incorrectly able to exhaust non-troop artifacts. So that's just some
I didn't
fixes
even know
there.
that was a thing.
Yeah, didn't know either. All cards where a player can actively decline a troop's ability will cause the game to get stuck. So that's obviously good.
Does that mean that the
Yay.
Buccaneer works now? Because that's when I read that, I think does that mean the Buccaneer works now with the main?
I don't know. I mean, that's not really what it's saying there.
Yeah,
but
I know it doesn't say that, but when I read it, I thought about it.
hopefully that's something they've fixed as well. But I don't think that's mentioned. But
I
so
don't
they've got a
want
few other things where corpse fly and discarding a spell shield unit doesn't cause the game to get stuck. So just a few more fixes there.
Yeah, just minor fixes on
Yeah, so you got
not really too popular cards, but
there are
Fix
some
with Pact
important
of
things as well.
Life.
good to have.
Judgment now correctly works with cost increasing effects, which is interesting because you could potentially, say you're running Sapphire Diamond, you could have Time Ripple to use that to protect your troops and increase them in cost yourself, and then use Judgment. Judgment's going to be working better then if you build around that build the deck based on it.
I don't think it's huge.
I mean,
and
it'll
you're
work a
not
little
going to
better, but,
build with the deck around
It's still
that.
not. I mean, it's just obviously.
Judgment's still probably not playable.
Yeah.
It's you have to build the deck around Judgment, basically.
No, not even then.
Wailing Banshee, no longer displays text twice, yada yada. Dwarven Armory now correctly costs 1 resource to use its ability. Eternal Guardian no longer incorrectly prevents the damage from pay life cards or effects, so you can't get an Eternal Guardian out and just keep using Pact of Pain and not hurting yourself. So that's good, because that was a pretty awesome effect.
That was a bug from the start, and I called bad names to people that did it on my games. Yeah, Hellhound's ability
it's not really
is playable, not well playable.
I mean, they did fix Princess Victoria. That's something to note.
Yep.
So the opening hand ability now works
Yeah,
correctly.
the thing that are really important is the Eternal Guardian, the socket restrictions, the fixes to like Ritualist of the Spring Litter, and also that I don't know if this is also for Soul Marble, but puts the incantation now correctly displays counters, and maybe they also fix the Soul Marble counter problem, which is really huge, because
hopefully.
I had a notebook when I write the counters of my marbles, because it was just
Sometimes you just forget.
yeah,
If
you
it's a
just
long
forgot.
game and
Yeah.
you're putting a counter on here and there.
So mostly just a few fixes here and there. Nothing really. I mean, Living Totem now follows activated ability rules, so that's good, because you can respond to, I guess, the buffs again. I guess that means.
The ritualist is now giving the correct number of Shin'har.
Yeah, that's.
Previously, it just when the Highborn died, which is now Shroomshaw, then it created 4 battle hoppers instead of 3, because I guess it was previously like 2 single instances of creating 1 battle hopper, which resulted in 4 battle hoppers. Now
pretty
it's
much.
3.
The thing
So
is
this
that
is a good
are
chance.
the new shroom shrouds are they battle hoppers, because they sound like mushrooms?
Yeah, it still makes the battle hoppers. They didn't change any of the text on that,
Oh, okay.
or at least it doesn't say that they did.
Okay,
So-
I thought they were changing the battle hopper to shroom something.
Now it will only create battle Shin'har commanders instead of battle hoppers all the time.
Also, one other
Alrighty.
thing is probably pretty cute, but I had it before. The change of Living Totem may mean that if you Angelica extension a totem, it keeps the buff, which it didn't before, and should keep the buff. So yeah, I know that's super cute and stuff like that, but I played around it because I like the Selenia and the Ancient, because it's
I think you froze us again in Dormy.
too cute for you, but I want that to work. So yeah, whatever. Hopefully that works now correctly.
Alrighty, let's get on to the balance changes, the important things.
One last thing. Did you
Okay.
mention the socket restrictions?
Yeah, okay, so socket restrictions are now in place, so that just means people can't be putting major gems in the minor sockets, so no more newbies beating us up because they're cheating.
In my opinion, this is a good change. Because,
Obviously it's a good change, but it was
obviously-
going to come at some point, so
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah, this should have been
it should have been
there
a while ago.
very much earlier.
Yeah.
But it's finally there. So
It's there.
It
Alright.
doesn't
Don't
have
have
to
to
be
mention
earlier,
it all
but
the time.
yeah. It's just
Yeah, I
people
mean,
that
most people
are doing
would,
correctly. Yeah,
like I know when I came across people who were doing it, I would just let them know, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, thanks," you know.
yeah.
it wasn't a big
faced
deal.
like 2
It
people
was only a
that
problem for one game.
that is like
Alright.
they were
I have
doing it,
people
exploiting it.
saying, yes, I know.
Yes, I know, Cyrus, but I'm just still going to beat you to death with it.
Yeah, but I'm just a big head, so I'm doing this. Fuck you.
Alrighty. So let's get on to the all-important balance changes. So the first one up, Secret Lab is now a 4 cost instead of 3, so that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it means it's like, yeah, I just
Not
don't
too
like it
happy
anymore.
with Yeah,
I don't think it was
personally-
necessary. I mean,
Like,
it's
it
still
was-
a really powerful effect being able to do that sort of stuff. You know, filter out your cards, and especially when you've got enough resources. And if you just keep drawing resources, obviously having a Secret Lab is something you want at that point. But for 4 cost, I don't know.
It's definitely going to be going down to a lot less decks that it's actually used in.
For sure.
If it's
Yeah.
still used.
It's pretty much now
It's
only
still a good card.
a late game card,
Still
pretty
a
much.
very good card, but it's maybe played a bit less, but
Yeah.
it's still a very good card.
Oh, it's still,
so-
as I said, very good because you don't want to just keep drawing resources and have no way to do something with them, or
Yeah.
get rid of them for something better. So yeah, that's obviously going to affect a lot of decks though. Still,
I think that the most important effect right now is with this change is that control, if they open a secret lab, are not going to be able to get the extinction as easily, as they probably have to wait one more turn to start cycling their cards.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
probably means that death versus aggro.
And you can really, really piss them off by doing some time ripples on that secret lab.
Yeah,
That'll be really annoying. Make it a 5 cost. Just keep increasing it. So yeah, obviously not probably not a popular change there, but let's move on to Incantation of Fear, which is now a 4 cost instead of 2. I do feel that this is probably necessary. I mean, 2 cost, and it was very easy to activate because I mean your opponent can just end up activating it for you if they're Oracle Song or whatever. A lot of stuff that your opponent's going to cast is going to go to the grave. So it was something that's very easy to activate, and it was a pretty strong effect as well as a big creature.
yeah. I also
So I'm
think
not surprised to see that.
that it's going to be double threshold. I think they didn't change it here, but it's probably going to be double threshold because the maddening.
I mean, it might be, but
no, the mining.
that-
I have a thing for it because the maddening nightmare, so the transformation of the incantation, is currently double threshold.
Yeah, that is true.
So the chance of not being double threshold right now are pretty slim.
Yeah, but this nerf on the Incantation of Fear is huge. Up to 4 from 2.
Yeah.
But
Like,
you have to agree that that having the Seal Fate on turn like 3 with the Acronym Madness, it's really making games end. We also seen some more incantation nerfs here, which with more of them, more or less, they all are going to. You can no longer activate them on turn 3 and slam for 6 and destroy the game there. Finish the game there. So
Yeah,
Well, the
that
wild
was
one
pretty
can
insane.
activate on turn 3 still.
yeah, but the thing is
unfortunately.
that, but it doesn't win games anymore as much because it can be blocked and die. Will die.
Yeah, it can be blocked really effectively now, since it's the Feral Beast is going down from 6 toughness to 3. That is the only change to it, but it is a big change, and it'll make a lot of decks be able to actually deal with it now, rather than just losing to the nut draw of a Shinhair deck.
Yeah.
So that is nice.
All right.
Now back to the actual order of the list.
Yeah.
Instead of skipping around.
Yeah.
So the next one up we've got is Azawa. Cosmic Elder is now 8 costs instead of 7. So
Not the
probably-
hugest change.
it's not a big deal. I mean, it was already pretty tough to play. But
Yeah, I
mean,
think it seemed a bit unnecessary.
So that's probably but it is really a powerful card because if your opponent doesn't deal with it immediately, you're going to either gain a lot of health or you're going to double your health. And,
No, the one resource is
Yeah.
actually quite
Yeah,
huge.
but now it's
It's quite huge because you can no longer play the Hex Engine on turn 4 and play Osawa on turn 5.
and it's
Yeah.
going to be
pretty much.
significantly
It's
worse against
stimulated,
aggro
yes.
because another turn of getting hit by aggro before you can play out your guy means it's going to be like a 4/4 when you actually play it out.
Oh yeah, I mean against aggro, this is not something you want at all. You don't want to be drawing him if you're against aggro. You just be like, oh boy, because that's just one dead card. You're not going to live that long.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
I think that
so-
the only change is because of that. It's because of the Hex Engine and Osawa turn 5, which is really strong. And
Yeah,
and just
I mean-
stop aggro on this track. If you slam it on turn 5, it was just game for aggro. And most of the
Oh,
games
pretty
going to
much.
be was game because you get one attack or one block with Osawa is game, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Because it just does heal for mental amounts. I mean, okay, so it's not. It obviously is a pretty big change, because it does, as you were saying, with Hex Engine, you can't get out as quick. But at the end of the day,
Yeah, it doesn't
not
matter much.
too bad. So Incantation of Righteousness is now a 2 cost instead of 1, so that's also not a big deal. I think that's fine as it is. Not really much to say about that.
And we weren't even sure exactly how powerful Incantation of Righteousness is
Yeah.
because we never actually got to really play it correctly.
I think it's going to be just in theory, it's going to be pretty damn good, especially for
Yeah,
two
I mean,
costs.
it's got to be good.
I mean, obviously,
Um,
you have to run it in a deck with a bunch of ways to heal. Yeah, and then it'll be very strong in that sort of deck, I feel.
I have a currently deck that is a Winnie life gain deck, and you can gain life out of nowhere. So
Well, exactly, and
Yeah,
then
plus
there's
two
the
plus
fact
two is
that
really
he's going to make your weenies,
Yeah, it's
plus
stronger.
2/+2. That's obviously very good.
also the
And
good
he's
thing
a-
about this
he's-
is he has life drain, which is really important.
Yeah, and he's the 4/4 as well,
Yeah.
I believe.
yeah, he's
4/4.
he's
So-
very solid. That's
So
for certain.
it's pretty damn nice.
Looking
So-
at the next change,
Yeah, the next change was
Life
necessary.
yeah, Life Siphon just being X was really powerful.
Yeah,
Moving it up
it
to
was
1x, moving it up to
Still,
1x
it's-
seems really fair.
It's still very powerful.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Let's compare to Burn to the Ground.
Well, it's
Burn
still
to the
flat out
Ground-
better. So
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah, Burn to the Ground is 1x cost, dealing X damage to the opposing champion. Life
Well-
Siphon.
Or true.
dealing
No, Burn
X
to the
damage
Ground
to
can
the
hit
opposing
troops
champion.
as
yeah,
well.
I was about to say that. So I mean, you've got the effect of getting healed from this one, but the other one can take out troops. So they've both got their ups and downs.
I think that is now that they are both balanced.
Ah,
at the
yeah,
same cost,
okay, that's
so-
that's right. I didn't think about that. You're
But
right.
making this 1x does put it a lot more in line with the power level of other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely.
But it's still a very strong card. But that was necessary. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, now it won't be as good in aggro decks anymore because like Blood aggro could run Life Siphon and just be like, woo. Now it's it's going to be more control oriented card, just because you need to get up to more mana to have the same efficiency.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Alright. Of
course,
that
it's only one
you
more
can
mana,
start siphoning on
but it is
turn
a
6 for the 2
Yeah.
siphon. Yes, which is nice.
It's still good, but it's a bit nerfed now, which is good.
Yeah. All right. So Booby Trap now deals 4 damage instead of 5.
That's
I mean,
huge.
I don't feel that's. I don't think it's huge.
I think
I
it's
mean,
huge.
it does mean.
At least one huge difference now. You cannot like let's say you play a booby trap, no a sabotage. The enemy cannot just get killed by the booby traps.
Well,
alone,
exactly, and
because-
honestly, they don't. I don't think they should, because of the fact
Yes.
that you're putting in 4 of them. So to be able to just die just because you're getting unlucky and drawing booby traps, and not. I mean, you've already got the bad effect that you lose your draw step if you draw into it. So you lose that, and that's horrible by itself. And then you're then taking damage as well. I mean, it's very strong. I mean, obviously, and also your opponent can just make it even better by themselves, just because if they've got a deck that is well built and has decent amount of card draw, well then booby trap's now more effective for you because they're going to probably draw into it a lot quicker. So having it just flat out, could just kill them with the 1 sabotage. I felt was a bit too strong. So
I think I disagree with you, Havoc. Because Sabotage does nothing when you play it. It's double threshold 3 costed, and you just
Well,
sacrifice
yes.
your 2 for doing it.
yes, but
And drawing like 4 booby traps in a row or in the next like even 10 turns is just really lucky with just 1 sabotage. So I don't think that was needed.
generally with the decks you're running sabotage in, you're going to have ways to help getting to the booby traps as well, like
Yeah,
yourself. And then, as I said, your opponent's going to most likely going to have card draw. A lot of decks have some ways to draw cards or draw them quicker. So even just getting the 1 sabotage off, you're likely going to at least get your opponent to hit 1 during a game if if your deck is working as it is intended, and then you're more likely going to hit more. So, yeah. I mean, again, it's the deck you're running it in is gonna. So I feel it's an okay change. I don't have any problems with it.
agree with you.
It's not the biggest change in the world, but as said, at least you cannot one shot.
Like if you were trying to kill someone with just booby trap, well then you're doing something wrong anyway. So
yeah, but as
it's just
said,
the 1
it's like-
sabotage.
it's like not playing only 1 sabotage, and the opponent can get killed by that. Only
Yeah.
that. So that's the only huge difference I see here.
Yeah. All right. So on to the
So,
next. We've already talked about
that's-
Feral Beast.
Yeah, that's a very important change.
Yeah, like we've already mentioned it. It's now just 3 defense, so it can be easily, instead of it just being something that's so hard to deal with now, you can just block and kill it in combat. So that's obviously very relevant because it was something loads of people just started running because was way too strong. So no surprise to see that there.
So
yeah, before like if you got that on turn 3 or 4, or even 5, other aggro decks really just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
And now that it has 3 toughness, other aggro decks will just be able to block it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
There's
it
so
is
many
still
troops.
strong with that because they probably have to 2-for-1 it. But
Yeah.
I think
Maybe.
that I probably won't run this card in most of the decks anymore, most green decks, and I'll just
Yeah,
leave it.
I'm really happy with this change.
Yeah, and I just
That's
leave it
for
against
certain.
aggro because against aggro it is still amazing because they cannot remove
Yeah.
it easily. It still deals 6 damage, so
I think this is the change that they needed to make to keep it still viable, but make it not overpowered or overbearing.
yeah, I agree.
Because the spell shield makes it so the Shinhair decks still do have game against control decks, but it's not just way too good against other aggro decks anymore.
Yeah, they still
So-
made it not to die to
It's a good balance.
to heat wave, which is important too. But they didn't over nerf
Yeah.
it at all.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm pretty sure it'll play out nicely.
Yep.
So, next change.
Oh,
Giant
one
army
more
ants,
important
defense
thing about this, it dies to Ruby Inquisitor. I just thought about it.
Oh yeah,
Which is
Yeah,
Dies to what, sorry?
that it dies to the Ruby Inquisitor or the no 360 snipe nose.
Oh, yes.
yeah. The spider, the spider can kill it now.
Yep.
With the 3 power with the.
But then
Ruby.
again, that's unlikely since they're going to have little troops everywhere. So
Well, tell that to Carl.
I don't know if you've ever watched me.
Yeah, if you
Well,
play against
yeah,
Card,
I mean,
he has.
I did have the one game where he just did it, and I was like, oh, you know,
No,
you took out my
it's not just
Spectre,
one
and I
game.
just
It's
got
in
out.
every game. I had
Yeah.
one game. I had like 7 creatures, and he could hit everyone by my Rooster Sword, and he just hit the Rooster Sword. I just rage quit the door because it was like the 3rd time in a row.
And you
Wish I
can't
had
even
that.
respond to that, can you?
No, you can't even respond
No.
because it doesn't go to the
You
stack.
you could you can't respond to the actual damage
Yeah, so-
after it chooses its target.
Yeah, you can
You would
respond.
have to do everything
yeah.
before I played.
Yeah,
the
maybe you
spider.
should have buffed it. And that way, if the spider hit it, it just stays alive.
There's just such low chances. They
Yeah.
wanted to leave stuff untapped to block.
Yeah, I
other
can
stuff.
understand.
Yeah.
Alright, so next card, Giant
Right.
Army Ants defense has been changed from 2 to 3. I have no idea what this card
Oh,
is
no.
because it's probably
They
garbage.
changed
Played
2
that.
to from 3. It
Changed-
actually noted it.
Oh, okay,
It
so
used
it's
to be 3.
nerfed.
Now
I've
it's
never
2.
even. I don't remember the card because it's probably garbage.
It's a 3/3 for 4
with Crush.
single threshold ruby.
So now
with
it's a
Crush.
3-2 for 4?
Yeah, so now it's a 3/2 for 4 with crush.
Yeah, which
Eh.
is terrible.
They just like
Garbage.
complete.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was already
So
unplayable. Now it's
they
even
made
worse.
garbage to even more garbage.
Whatevs.
Yeah, and they made another ruby card even worse. The ruby
Yeah.
enchantress.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
pretty huge,
now-
by the way. I think that's pretty huge. Well,
That
huge.
is really huge because
But
now
huge.
it's another card that just a worker bot can be like, no, you're not attacking me with
Yeah.
your aggro deck with this card as well. So not only can a worker bot now stop the Ruby Pyromancers, and not that I don't see many people running this card anyway.
Oh,
I mean, it's got a really nice Inspire effect, but yeah.
Yeah.
I got destroyed
Just
by
never
this
said.
card
Like,
yesterday.
okay,
I didn't have it like in the highest team, but they just played a Crush of Beast afterwards, and I was oh yeah, I'm fucked because I cannot deal with a 3/3 with a Swift Strike. It's so hard to deal with right now. You don't have
Yeah.
Also,
the removal for it, so I was happy with it.
One thing I wanted to go back to from the gameplay changes that I think we just kind of glossed over was the incantations will no longer incorrectly trigger continuous effects from transform cards outside the war zone.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
the righteous incantation
Is
should be
working.
working
Yeah.
as intended now.
Yeah.
You won't get the extra buffs. I don't think we actually said that one out loud. Just kind of went over it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we pointed that out. So the righteous
Yeah,
one,
that's a
good
point,
It
yeah.
should, as long as it's working as the patch says it should, we should be able to unrestrict that for the tournament. Hopefully, talk to Tata about that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm sure he's probably already considered this.
It's not restricted from the tournament. Don't get it wrong. Tada said in the forums.
One card.
it's
It
not
was.
restricted.
Yeah, that's
Because-
Yeah,
restricted.
it's still
If
restricted.
you can,
Yeah, it
He
wasn't
said-
banned. It was restricted.
Yeah.
yeah, he said if you cannot deal with the 30-30.
No, that was
Then
the
you-
Armada one, I think.
No, that's the Armada.
Sorry, I'm mixing here
Yeah, I
something.
was talking
Sorry,
about the righteous.
don't get me wrong.
Yeah. the
Okay,
diamond
sorry,
one.
I just mixed the cards.
All good.
Yeah, I think the
Never mind,
Armada bag
never mind.
wasn't huge because it didn't matter anyway. I have played a shit tons of deck with the Armada, and the bag
Yeah,
didn't
I've
matter.
never actually run into that being a problem.
Yeah, it didn't come into a problem because it just if you get like the one attack with the Armada, with the first one, whatever causes the second one is going to one shot. it doesn't matter if it's a 8/8 or a 16/16. If it's at 4, he dies in that way. They didn't have even again that back matter. You just don't exploit it. Don't.
Yeah, it was
don't
kind
play
of
around.
it was kind of strong.
But
I said, John mentioned if you cannot deal with the 30-30, then you no. If you can't deal with the 16-16, then you also won't be able to deal with the 30-30.
yeah,
So he's right with that. Totally right. But still, it's the difference between one-shotting someone or two-shotting someone, you know. So there is a difference, and it was a huge effect. So we can be happy that this is fixed finally.
The thing is that if you are not if you weren't a scumbag, just played around it, and it just didn't matter because you can probably have done some damage with the Dreamers, Thunderbirds, or stuff like that. So they were probably not at full life either way. So, or just one hit with your previous Armada, because the previous Armada was correctly. The thing about the Armada that takes back is that it has double tips the effect, because it's probably coded as enter plays to get the effect, and then as continuous effect when it's in play. So it's not bug if you play like two Armadas and they both transform, will be all fine. But if you play like the transform Armada from your hand, is when it double tips. So yeah, you just played a little bit around it, and I just didn't have any issues here in any game that it mattered. And I played like probably 50 games or 60 games with the Armada because I love the deck. So.
Yeah. So back to balance changes then.
Alright, so we got the next card, Legionnaire of Gawain. His attack and defense has been changed to 4, so he's a 4/4 now.
Yep, 4/5.
So I mean, yeah, it's just a flat out improvement. So I mean, he was already a very powerful card because the effect is just really good.
Yeah, did you try it with Life Drain? Because that was nuts completely. you had Victorian play and like 3 troops.
Yeah,
and you played the Legionnaire of Gawain, and you got like 60 health, and it was just retarded. Yeah. Well, it's still retarded.
Crazy.
Yeah. If you have Light Drain, you can give it Light Drain. It's really, really, really strong.
Well, definitely when we get more mana fixing options, the triple Inspire deck is just going to be, the Sapphire Diamond Ruby is going to be really nice, because you have that Sapphire guy grabbing you the extra humans. I mean, obviously the key component is the Blessing of the Fallen. So I mean, obviously trying to get, if you get that in your opening hand, then you're like, sweet. And you
get to draw a card with Mentalist.
Yes, obviously Mentalist
as well.
makes the
So
he's a key. As soon as he got added, obviously that was a key component to the Inspired deck. Yeah. And a lot of his troops are going to be
humans that have double threshold. Because most of the human has 1 threshold, so I think that's why they wanted to make a triple color deck to be able to be viable, a triple color Inspired deck.
Yeah.
With little resource fixing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like pretty much all the troops are like 1 threshold, so it makes it possible. So yeah, it's obviously just a flat-out improvement. Menacing Grog has been nerfed, unfortunately.
Yes, flat-out decreasement.
Yeah, he's now pretty much, you're going to be running either Mono Sapphire, or you're just not going to be playing him when you want to play him, in most cases.
Switching him down to a 2 instead of a 2/3 is a big change as well.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessary.
Yeah, I don't think the defense change is that big, because when you play Menacing Grog, it's like the effect is what counts.
Yeah,
it's still huge. I think it's huge because now it cannot block Spectres or survive the trade with Spectres.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's like so many things.
Yes.
There are a number of things.
In the semi-mirror match, or just against other Sapphire decks or flyers in general, it is a lot weaker now.
Yeah.
So.
But the effect is
of course, it's weaker, of course.
Yeah.
No question there. So the next change is quite
may have to run
devastating.
some Storm Calls instead, which is not as good, obviously, but it's still alright. But yeah, Wild Root Dancer is now a 2 wild threshold instead of 1, which is something I knew was going to come eventually. Or at least I was saying about it a while ago.
We all knew that it was going to come sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, it did need it.
It
was just
he's
2.
like one of the strongest cards, in my opinion, especially for 3 Ghosts. So the effect is just huge.
And it's too easy to splash.
Yeah, it's too easy to. Yeah, totally agree here. So it was kind of necessary, in my opinion, to do that. It's like now it's quite balanced.
Yeah, you want to make it, because I mean, Wild is all about the the big stumpy creatures. So having Wild being the more prevalent deck without that guy's in makes sense. Whereas having it really easy to splash and just turn all your, like, for example, a Wild Diamond deck is now, you know, you're not going to be running a Root Dancer with like a Cloud Knight because that's going to be really iffy, being them both dual threshold. And
Yeah.
like before, that was something nice to have because you just keep making the Cloud Knight bigger, and you just, you know, a steadfast life drain troop that's flying that keeps getting bigger is obviously a very nice thing. Whereas that's like a really, you know, that's a combo now that's a lot harder.
The thing right
also,
now about it is that all the buff effects are double threshold, so that makes it consistent.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
True.
also think it's worth noting that now a lot of Wild's most powerful cards require you to commit a lot to Wild.
Yeah.
Between Root Dancer, Crash of Beasts, Jadeem, and I mean, of course, Fist.
But
Yeah.
you have
But-
to remember one thing. Wild has a lot of ramp. Like if you play Wild and you splash Wild into something else.
Well, yeah, but then you are
the
forced to then
potential-
run things like Braves or Chlorophylla to.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
it
but
kind of forces
Brave
you
is
to
not
make
bad.
Wild your main color and make the other one a
Brave
splash color.
but Brave is still not a bad card to run, in my opinion, and it will give you the threshold you need.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's still a good card.
yeah.
So, but they force you to play Holding Brave when you want to splash Wild Redentor in. So this is like a force to that, in my opinion.
pretty much. You
Yeah, I
are
feel like
forced.
it's forcing you. So if you want to make a dual color deck with Wild in it, Wild has to be your base color in order to get
Yep.
effective cards out of it.
That's true, of course.
Yeah,
So,
the
let's
thing
go
is
to the
that
next
right
change,
now,
okay?
before Root Dancer was, if you were playing some kind of Wild, you were playing Root Dancer, 4 of them, in pretty much any deck.
Pretty much.
If you played
Unless
the
you were
Wild,
on
you
the
played Root
Shin
Dancer because
deck.
it was just really good in any deck. And now, it's not a must for a must in every deck. That's the change.
All right.
Pretty
So
much.
Boulder Brute. That's the 4/4 for 5 with a minor socket, right?
Yes, I guess it is.
Was
I
it,
think
was
it
it a
is,
minor
yes.
socket or a major socket?
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
minor.
right.
Minor socket.
Yeah.
Minor
so
socket,
now
yes.
he's just 1 Wild instead of 2.
Yeah.
Not a huge change. I don't think anybody really played
you
him
can
anyway.
splash it in now, but this is not the most played card in the world, so
Yeah, it's still kind of weak.
let's just say this change is there, and
I think that it
I
was
am
changed
not
before,
upset.
that it was a single threshold, and they changed it to dual threshold in a stealth fix or something, because I think it was a single threshold when they spoiled it on Kickstarter. And when I checked this card like, I don't know, like 1 week ago, and so it dual threshold, so this is just makes it like so terrible. But now it's more of a limited card, a better limited card. I think it's really nice. But yeah, it's not a change for constructed. But for limited, I think is a really huge improvement, making a minor socket available splashable
yeah.
pretty much for a while. And it is still
that'll
a
definitely
4/4 for 5, so
no.
It will
So-
be good and limited. Now, one of the
the
biggest
next-
changes, of course.
Yeah, that's one of the hugest changes in my opinion too. Murder now has 1 blood threshold and reads destroy non-artifact troop. So this is making Murder even more splashable in 1 point, but it's a problem to encounter cards like Eternal Guardian or even the new card, the Drew whatever.
The Colossal
You know what I
Walker.
mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem here, but this is kind of a nerf, but also for dual color decks, it's a huge increase for that card because you just need 1 blood threshold. And I just had games today where my opponent said, "Hey, I'm stucking on like 2 murders, and I just got 1 blood threshold, so now hit them." So that's a pretty cool change here, and I like the effect that you cannot destroy artifact troops anymore.
I don't like it too much, I guess. I mean, the change to only artifacts I really like, but making it more splashable, I do not like it anymore too much. Because now you have like 8 easily splashable remove from blood, which is going to
Yeah,
make
it's a
it
little ridiculous.
a lot
Without
more
the
annoying.
persecutes and
Yeah, just you have.
Yeah.
And I don't like that much because it's
I mean,
just annoying to play. I guess it
it
don't
is
mean
a
it's
big
not
buff
balanced.
to artifact.
But
It's a
that's,
big buff to
that's kind of
artifact stuff.
buff to artifact. But remember the situations when you had to kill an artifact with the murder. When I try to remember, there's rarely the situation to encounter artifact decks. Now it will be very it will be very present now to play artifact decks, and then the murder is quite useless in some situations, but not everybody's running artifacts. So
It's what I like though is that now you actually have to think about if you want to be playing murder or not,
Yeah.
how relevant you think it'll be, rather than just shoving them into the deck because they kill everything.
Yeah,
So-
I think the biggest buff here is for Guardian, because Guardian right now is really hard to deal with. You don't attack with it, and if you are not playing against Diamond, you just don't attack with it, so you don't get repel.
Yeah.
Because Inner Conflict doesn't deal
Nature's
with it,
Reign.
Murder doesn't deal with it, so it can only die to Extinction, Natural Reigns, Turbulence, Chaos Key, Comet Strike, and Hope Hero. In addition to Ruby Lance and Terrible Transfer, you have the Thresholds. But yeah,
Yeah.
they are most of them
I think
are
it's
not
kind
main
of funny.
artifacts.
I think it's funny how Wild is actually going to be having more useful removal against artifact decks than Blood
Yeah.
will.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
that
pretty funny.
now the mono wild ramp will go again with Eternal Guardians main deck, as it happened before in the start of the alpha, when there was no persecute and stuff
Yep.
like that. Because if you slam Guardian against many decks, it's game. If you slam Guardian against
Yeah.
aggro, it's game, because they cannot deal with it. The chance of them having something that can deal with Guardian are so slim that it's game.
Yeah.
And even if if you're playing control right now, they can only die with 2 double persecute or extinction if you're facing control, or chaos key. And at most, this change will make probably chaos key more relevant. This was at the start of the alpha too, just because if the people slam Guardian, you're just completely destroyed. But yeah, I think we
Yeah.
will see the reappearance of Guardian and chaos key on many decks.
So, next change just looks like a wording rechange on the Volcanon.
Yeah, we got some wording changes on Volcanon, Corpse Fly. Well, Corpse Fly is not just a wording change; it's now a targetable effect. So that means you can answer the effect and all that sort of stuff.
First, will go on the stack again,
Yeah, so that's
like
good.
it used to a couple weeks
No,
ago.
The change to
before
Corpse
they
Fly
made the
is that you can
changes.
just target yourself. That is the change to Corpse Fly. It's not the opponent. You can
But,
target
Yeah, you
yourself
can
with
target yourself.
which is
If
not
you-
huge,
if you-
but
but
the
now
may
say-
also be so combo with it. I don't know.
Now
If you
say
look at Volcanon,
you also have
Volcanon
one card
says-
left in your hand, and it's a removal spell. If they play the Corpse Fly, you'll actually be able to remove the Corpse Fly now in response to the ability, rather than just having to discard your removal spell.
Yeah.
But also, what I see is that they are preparing some for cards for the multiple champions. Like if you're playing 2-2 or whatever. When you look at this, you can now target champions. Volcanon deals to each opposing champion, and so on and so on. So they are maybe preparing some.
Yeah, they're
Well, what
For
I
the
think,
2-2
when I
order.
read this change
Fly.
with to Corpse Fly, is that I instantly think about Minion Shepard, and that I have another way to discard troops so I can resurrect them afterwards. So yeah, I know it's cute, but we need stuff like that to discard cards from your hand, to get into the graveyard and then resurrect them with Minion Shepard. Because we only had the Avalanche Giant and the Secret Lab, and Secret Lab got nerfed. So yeah, I know it's cute, just super cute, but it's still maybe seen.
Yeah, but
If the
right,
Mina
right.
Shepard deck is viable at some point, you have to check this card out.
Yeah. Yeah, with what Cyrus is saying with Volcanon there, obviously Volcanon is going to be a raid boss now. I mean, that's obviously what that's pointing towards. And you're just going to die to a massive Volcanon. So instead of 3 damage, it's going to be 30 damage to each opposing champion. We'll just die instantly. But yeah, obviously that's going to be something that, you know, when they get 2v2 and stuff, like I'm hoping it's not going to be too long after the game is launched that we get that sort of stuff, because that's one of the things I really like to play when I played Magic and stuff, just play with mates and like two-headed dragon, all that sort of stuff.
I like having a little casual stuff.
Yeah, two-headed giant or whatever it was called. Yes.
So
Now, next one, just a slight wording change on the Devoted Emissary to make that also so it goes on the stack, I suppose.
Yeah, because it's targeted. Yeah.
no big deal there. One thing I'm pretty unhappy with is the Elite Battletech change.
Yeah, I agree.
It says now that you can only target opposing troops with its ability to return cards to their hand.
Yep.
You used to be able to target any troop, including your own.
But
I
I
think
think
the-
that was
the
a little
quality of
bit
this
too strong
was
for
down
in
a
some
lot.
combos, because if you use some Guardian on this guy, it was really, really, really retarded.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, he barely saw any play anyway.
Yeah, I'm still happy with it.
I wouldn't say I'm too happy with this.
They probably,
change.
though, they're probably looking towards the future and what sort of stuff would just gets broken if they left it how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Because they probably, they obviously know things we don't, so they probably like, oh, this we can't leave it this as this because we're gonna then later have to
The thing is that you could
ban it from certain tournaments or something.
Yeah. The thing is that you can.
And one thing I do
remove
understand.
with this.
One thing I do understand about it though is now with the murder changes, you would have just been able to play this BattleTech guy and then follow it up with like an Eternal Guardian or a Colossal Walker, and then like it couldn't even die to extinction as long as your BattleTech was on the field.
Oh yeah,
So it would be
that's true. So
yeah,
that's
so that's
one
probably
of
the reason for the change, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
Yeah.
So we got another very good change in my opinion. The Curse of Oblivion now reads: choose target opposing card on the chain, void each other card with the same name from its controller's deck, graveyard, and hand. That's a very good change because Curse of Oblivion was a very, very strong card in my opinion.
Now, by good, you
Just-
mean it's good for the fact that it was broken. Yes.
Yeah, it's good that it is more balanced now. I like balance in the game.
It's
and,
still
it's-
it's still kind of garbage now, but apparently, according to the chat, it is now a one-cost card.
Yeah.
So not as bad as you would initially think if that was the only change.
Yeah, if it was 3 cost, it would be
Just garbage.
absolutely unplayable like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
The
but
only
at
thing I
one
think that
cost-
is good against is like Siphon and Extinction, probably. With other cards you
Yeah,
probably don't want to.
also
I
you
mean-
could get let's say you play against a mill deck and you get rid of all the opponents
Well, any escalation deck.
Yeah.
Getting
Chronic
rid of all the
Madness.
escalation cards is
So,
obviously a good thing to
you-
have.
let's say you just kill all the escalation cards of the opposing deck. This cannot be bad, and especially for the situation when you play against mill and you void all the Chronic Madness.
Yeah.
Then the mill deck got a huge problem.
Yes,
So,
exactly. It's
It was a good card
basically.
before.
Sorry, finish.
No, I'm finished. Sorry, you can.
Basically, now it's just a really nice sideboard because if you're up against escalation, then it's a very nice card to have. It also against counter magics, extinctions, life ciphers. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that it's very nice against. Even certain removal cards you might not want to have your opponent having multiples of them. Like even persecute if you're running a lot of 3-cost troops. Getting rid of the rest of their persecutes would obviously be nice. And also, what it also does, you have to remember, is that you're taking out 3 of their cards, and therefore their deck is now more resources than it needs to be, so they're likely going to hit more resources because you're thinning their deck, but you're thinning not resources, so therefore their chances of hitting more resources are increased. So they could just get
just minorly, but it is something.
Yeah, it's minor, but it's still something.
And another thing
But you
to
have to
note
remember,
is it does take out of
there's-
hand now, which
There's
is
one
huge.
thing on this
Yes,
new
taking out of
effect
hand
now.
is massive. That is actually a good point.
And there's one thing on the new effect now, because when you played Curse of Oblivion previously, let's say you're encountering a fist deck, whatever, and you wanted to get rid of all the fists. You could do that. But now, if you if the opponent plays fist and you're playing Curse of Oblivion now, it says void each other card with the same name from its controller's deck,
Yeah,
graveyard.
the effect doesn't deal with the card on the chain.
Yeah.
Right. So
against creatures
that is a
not
massive
wrong.
nerf,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
but again, that's why you wouldn't
Yes,
really use it on a fist because if they've got one and you can't deal with it, having 2 out's
just
not
an
really
example.
going to change
Just an
much.
example. You cannot. I just meant you cannot prevent the whole playing of one card.
Well, yes,
You cannot
exactly,
prevent it.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I just
I like how-
gave an example.
But that's why it's
Yeah.
1 cost now.
I do like how you
Yeah.
can actually take a card out of their hand now, though.
Yeah,
Before
that
it was
is
only
very
out
nice.
of their deck, and you're only getting rid of potential stuff, which I mean is solid sometimes. Sometimes that's what you needed to do. But now you can actually trade 1-for-1 and get all the extra copies out of their deck. Of course, one gets through now. But yeah.
And we got a good point from GSG, Golden Saucer Guy. You used to be able to just look at your opponent deck and not cast it.
Yeah, but
So that was kind of broken. So that's a good point here, and you cannot do that anymore, which is kind of good because if you're playing an opponent, then you can look at his whole deck, and you're not playing this card. This is kind of cheat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
Oh,
it
yeah,
was just a bug.
I mean, let's pretend that card doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore, but let's pretend it never did because it was broken and
it was completely broken.
Yeah, let's say you are playing a random and you don't even know that he looked at your whole deck.
Yeah, but
Because
still,
you couldn't see
his
that.
alpha is not a
It's a
huge
little
deal
weird.
because there weren't any important tournaments running, and
Yeah.
with the gas prices and so on, it wasn't the big of the deals. And most of the players are honorable, so it just didn't matter much.
But yeah, it's not relevant anymore, so there's no real
I
reason
feel like
to talk about
everybody
that.
should be happy with this
Yeah,
change.
true. Yeah, that's right.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone should be happy with it.
But yeah,
So the
I
next,
mean,
Yeah, we are.
as long as it is one cost, I think it will be playable.
yeah, it will be playable if it's one.
the
So
thing is that you can destroy the Inquisitors, all the Inquisitors with this.
Oh, yes,
Because if you just kill the
oh,
first
Oh,
Inquisitor,
yeah, that's a good
Oh.
point.
while there is on the stack, when going back to their hand, you can kill every one of the Inquisitors. Which is, I think, one of the most important stuff about this card.
yeah,
That it deals with Inquisitors,
Yeah,
which are
totally.
really hard to deal with in most other decks. But you probably won't run a four of this card in any deck. Unless you run 2 or something.
well, yeah, or you just sideboard it.
True.
Yeah. No, I think that probably some aggro
sideboard
decks,
couple.
like for example, Karn's deck, Bad Karso deck, probably runs 1 or maybe even 2, just because if they play Open and Extinction, you just destroy the Extinctions and you can just overstand as much as you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could
Oh,
I
I
could
was
see
saying.
running a copy or two in the main deck of some
Yeah.
aggro decks.
that that would be
Because
that would be
yeah.
obviously very, especially the Ruby Blood.
Yeah,
Indeed,
Bad Karso.
Dragon. I do have a cam now.
Yeah,
but yes,
as
the
you see,
Ruby
it's
Blood
from the
like orc deck
1920s, the Havoc Kama.
would be nice.
It's not from 2000, it's from the 1920s.
Before color was invented.
Yeah,
Havoc is from the past.
pretty much. Alrighty, so the next card we got, well, not card, sorry, it's the
So
champion. I don't think it's a big, like, is there a change there or?
Yeah.
It
it's
used to
okay.
say transform 2 troops instead of void,
Yeah.
Yep.
but it was messed up. So it instead of transforming both of them into one card, you would actually get 2
Well,
abominations.
Yeah, but now
Oh,
that it's
it was
great,
supposed to be.
also it's something that can get inspired and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah,
You know,
the thing
It
is
gets
anything
that
inspired, and
Yeah.
you actually get 1 instead of having 2, like the bug version was.
no, but
So-
the thing that this was the most huge. Probably this is just for to make it like easy to code or something like that. But the main issue about it is that if you had previously inspired your troops or buffed it in another other way, when you transform it with the Bunjitsu, it also should copy the buffs over. So for example, if you inspired like Swift Strike,
yeah, so you don't get the buffs anymore. Like,
Yeah,
that
it
sort of
probably
stuff
didn't
won't
work,
carry over, which
it
is
didn't work before, but it
well, I don't
could
think it
potentially
was
have
really
worked.
something they couldn't program. Like, I don't think that's why. I think they just thought this more is balanced, maybe, because I don't know. I mean, there's a reason behind it. I don't like it still.
I still
mean,
don't
yeah,
like it
so
because
I'm a big
it's just.
I had
it's just
some
too
cute
easy to
combos
counter.
made to me. There was one guy I don't remember his name.
Oh, there's
unfortunately.
always going to be certain combos and stuff for all that
Yeah,
sort of stuff. But,
But
eh.
I thought it was really nice. He played me. He just he saved his wild boards, and he just played 2 in a row, attack with them, and then transform it into a abomination and get in an 8/8. And I thought it was really nice. It's completely cute
There are
combo,
situations. Yeah.
but it's also like nice with troops that have downsides like Fang and Claw. That they hit you. They are.
Let's
like,
talk about the
always
new
so-
card, the Drew. If you're playing against a card that deck that has not that much removal, and you have the artifact Drew guy with 8/8 with the bad effect, you can use that for a transformation, which would be huge, and the enemy cannot
it's not
remove
huge
it.
because it
so
loses
that-
it loses crush when you transform it.
Yeah, it loses its crush.
Yeah.
it's
It
yeah,
won't be an
that's right.
artifact anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah.
It can't die to murder.
But
so.
it will become at least an 11/11, which is also
But-
interesting.
if you like, let's say you play against Diamond and you have a troop that is inner conflicted, then you can use this effect to get rid of that
Yep.
also. So
Yeah.
that's maybe used for that.
I mean, there's certain situations where it can be useful.
Yeah, but it's very
just-
situational.
Just in general, I don't like voiding 2 of my own troops to make them into 1 troop, because 1 troop is more
Look,
easily
if you don't
able
stop
to get
doing
rid
that,
of.
you are
than
going
2.
to get your cam removed and get a dog face instead. Frankly, just warning you right now.
Or make everybody sick while it's spinning.
But the thing is that
so-
the main problem with Bunjitsu is that you cannot sideboard champs. Because Bunjitsu could be a nice sideboard champ for some matches,
Yeah.
but as you
Potentially.
cannot sideboard champs, it's meh at most. But yeah, if champs will be able to be sideboarded as GMs, it will make it much more interesting. And
Yep.
champions like this that are more specific to certain matchups and so on, we'll see a little bit more of play. But that's just an opinion throwing it there.
Yeah, as I said, this card, this champion is still very situational, and you won't find that many uses for it. But it may have its place. But yeah, I would say we continue.
Well, if it is
Yeah,
something like cards that is like, I don't know, like a 2020 that cannot attack and have counters or it or something like that. There was a card in Magic that I think it was a land with 20 counters, and when you remove all the counters, became a 2020 with flying and invincible, something like that. So it could be nice to combine with some stuff like that. Some creatures that are huge but cannot attack or block. They cost like, I don't know, 3 for a 10/10 that with crush, but it cannot attack. And with this you just get the negative effect out of it. But right now we don't have a cast that combo well with it.
So one thing I want to say, just going back to, for example, Peak. One thing I want to just mention real quickly is when we get Replicator's Gambit, which I'm really hoping we get, say, sometime soon. Think about Peak and then Okenge Ceremony together. Yeah, and then like you say, Gambit a Sensei, and then you've got Okenge and Peak to look for him. Oh boy, I can't wait to try that. I really cannot wait. Like that's just going to be quite bonkers.
Yeah, that'll be a nice Wild Sapphire deck.
Yeah.
Especially if you do something like Verdant Wildeboar.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I said. I agree with that. But it's nice. There are some possibilities with Peak, and same with the.
But yeah, you could even Gambit the Wildeboar.
Yeah, you
Would
can-
that? I guess it wouldn't get the buff though, would it?
No, it won't get the
Actually-
buff. But it doesn't matter that way because you get
Yeah.
8 4
I mean, you're
with
still gonna
speed.
get speed. Yeah, exactly. And then they all go back to your deck and.
Yeah, and the chance of
Yeah.
drawing
Yeah.
another one of
Blaze
them is
Elementals.
huge. Yeah, Blaze
yeah.
Elemental. But still, Replicator's Gambit is most nice with creatures that are going to die, or something like that. Well, not going to die, but yeah, they're gonna die like Blaze Elemental.
Yeah,
Because
stuff you would
still
be losing
sacrifice your
anyway.
troop, yeah.
I also want to try it out with Blaze Elementals. I can't wait to try that
Yeah.
as well, because you're not losing anything, and that's the.
Yeah.
It'll
You know,
definitely be fun.
It's just a full-on gain because not only are you getting the draw effect from the Gambit, you then once
Yeah,
you
you
do
have the
get
chance to actually
chance
just go,
to,
Yeah.
chance
oops,
to
I
just
won.
win. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But you probably want to play
Alright,
it with creatures with a speed or something like that. And
Well, yeah, that's where Blaze Elemental.
Yeah. the thing is that if
So, yeah.
Replicator Gambit was an instant speed, it will be completely nuts. If it was instant speed, will be completely nuts. Because you could just
Yeah,
respond
be
to
able to
when the
protect your
creature
stuff.
dies and draw a card from it. You don't even need it to have the Replicator Gambit effect.
That would be a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, so
I think that pretty much covers all the patch notes.
Did you check the,
Yeah.
the
Anybody have
deck
anything
they posted?
else to
Because
say?
I didn't.
No, I didn't really look into those decks down there.
I think it's the,
we,
the
we
first
could
time.
we could discuss Dan Clark, which is
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
had,
Dan Clark, so
oh yeah, here is the Transcendent for anyone that didn't take it before. It's here. If you will draw a card, it's a 6/5. If you will draw a card, search your deck for any card and put it into your hat instead. She's really nuts.
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, we can read the Dan Clark stuff, which is like here.
We
So,
we
Howard?
should at least thank Dan Clark for all his things he did in the holiday times. That's why they made this card for Dan Clark.
Yeah, the lead developer. So
Come on, really? We are not printing that?
Yeah, far below. It's far below.
Yeah. It's here. Thanks, Dan, for taking the time
It's
to see it.
it's on the bottom.
Huh?
It's on the bottom.
I'm there.
You mean that?
Yeah, but the first thing, also the first question is really good because he's talking about the secret lab change. So we should probably discuss this. So how about if you want to read, please?
All right, so let's see. I'll just go. So the question. Sorry, I'm just catching up.
Thanks, Dan.
The first question I want to ask is, why did you feel Secret Lab needed the increased cost from 3 to 4? So Secret Laboratory is a card that we wanted to give all shards access to a draw outlet to help do whatever cute interaction you wanted. That wasn't as good as drawing as Sapphire or Blood, usually in cahoots with Escalation. Unfortunately, Lab doing it too well. Each card we have made is shooting to have a role. For this, it was trying to promote different decks and new experiences. We discussed upping the cost of the activation, but felt that would be too far in the opposite end of the spectrum, in making it too steep of a cost to still be able to accomplish the goals for Secret Laboratory. So, I mean, that all makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does make
I mean,
sense.
they don't want it to have in just every deck because, I mean, that does make sense. You want to
that's
promote
kind of how it was
diversity
for a
and
little
stuff.
bit.
Yeah.
It was just kind of in everything. The one thing I'm worried about now though is that it won't be in anything.
I mean, you still need it. Like, if you want to run, for example, Relentless Corruption, you still need this. You just can't not run it. I mean, it's not that you just can't not run it. It's just that you want to be able to filter out the stuff you get from your opponent that does you no good. So, I mean, there's still going to be, Blood's still going to run it, certain decks. Again, it is only one extra cost, so it does mean you're getting out a turn later, and that could put a lot of people off, but it's still a very nice card.
Yeah, I think that the
It's still
changes.
solid. And I mean, since they didn't up the activation cost, that was really the major thing. If you had to spend more than 1 mana a turn on it, it would definitely not be as good.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I think
for sure. If
the
they did
change
that,
is, oriented to for cards like the same change like of Wheeler Dancer. That means that if you are not playing like some certain kind of deck, you just add it like mindlessly without thinking about it because it was just that good.
Sorry?
And now you have to think a bit more about including in every deck that will just need some card filtering or just draw cards.
Yeah. So the next thing they're talking about here is the why the change to Booby Trap. So I'll just read that out real quick. So for Booby Trap, they weren't happy with how easy it was to just end the game off with one Sabotage, as we talked about earlier. Especially as I mentioned, like in a mill deck, and you're obviously always going to have ways to make it easier to hit those Booby Traps. So in like a mill deck or Fulmination decks, you're going to be hitting Booby Traps. I mean, it's going to happen. At least you can at least hit one. Let's put it that way. And if your deck is curving right and you're doing all the right stuff, then you're going to be hitting more. And just dying off one Sabotage is not a fun experience.
But
And
the
then they
main
also
change I think is
go on
the
to
last
say-
feature. Yeah, the last sentence. This change
Yeah,
also keep
the
in
last
mind some
sentence
plans
there
we
is-
have in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they got
Yeah.
plans for it in the future. So that's cool.
And they also said, just in general, they don't want win conditions to be too good that are not interactive. Like if the win condition you can interact with it, so they don't mind it being a little or quite a bit better even, such as Tradeem and stuff. But with Sabotage, there's nothing you can do about that. If you just get a little unlucky or if they mill you out, there's no interactivity there.
Yeah.
So
Yep, I reckon it's a good
Makes
change.
Yep.
So what's next? Let's see.
The nerf to Feral Beast. What's the next thing they
Sorry?
talk about? They talk about the life cycle enchant, but it's pretty much the same of the
Yeah.
Booby Trap, and the next one is the Incantation of Savory, which pretty much says what we talked about it. That now is manageable if they open it on turn 3. Well, have the no draw. It's not auto loss on turn 3.
Yeah. So I'm just reading what we've got. See if there's stuff we want to mention.
Yeah, same with the regular dancer. Pretty much the same of Secret Lab, what I was saying up before. But just
Yeah.
food and,
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
just being used
That's no
too many
surprise. Yeah, it was just too many. Too easy to splash. And I mean, it puts it more in line with the other really good 3-cost cards in the other colours. Like you've got Cloud Knight as 2 threshold, you've got Inquisitor 2 threshold. Ruby, their ones aren't as powerful, so it makes sense for them not to be 2 threshold. Like the you've got if I can remember the name of the card, someone help me out
Veteran
here.
Gladiator was at the start of the alpha.
Yeah.
I think Veteran Gladiator was double threshold, but they changed it on
Yeah.
the part of Cloud Knight.
Yeah, like Veteran Gladiator, obviously it's not as strong as the other 3-cost cards in the other colours, and it's still very nice. But yeah, I mean it's fine it being 1 threshold because it's not something that just gets really out of control, and it has to attack, so it's easy to kill as well. So yeah, having that as 2 threshold kind of wouldn't make sense.
I just think it's the
So,
philosophy
yeah,
they're going with the game. That they don't want cards that are just for including every deck that plays that color, just because they are.
Yeah,
that good.
exactly.
So I think it's a good direction for the game.
Yeah, for sure. So then they mentioned Curse of Oblivion. It's been a problem card for quite some time, which understandable.
One thing to note is they did say in there the incantation cycle will be monitored for power level as they keep going on in the alpha.
Yeah.
So more incantation changes could come in future patches,
Yeah,
which is a good thing to note.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to keep monitoring everything and just, yeah, we're probably going to get a lot more balance changes before we get to beta.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So
So all they need to do now, basically, is just get Gambit fixed. That's it. That's all they need to do. So get on it,
You and your Gambit.
and I'll be happy.
Yeah. fix Gambit.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot
I think
of
there
fun.
were more cries for Eye of Creation, but that's probably because they have a little bit of complex problem, coding problems with it.
Gambit's in the game. Come on, fix it already. It's there teasing us every day. Every day I log in and see it, and just like, oh.
Did you really like that card?
So yeah, well, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I like having fun, so this will be good. But yeah, I think we're pretty much done. So that's all the patch notes.
That just about wraps it up.
That wraps it up. So yeah, the servers aren't. I just checked; they're not up yet. Probably not too far away, I would imagine.
I just actually got in. So
Oh, really?
Why?
Oh.
You don't say that out loud, Khan.
He's
Now
probably
the
just,
are not going to be able to log in.
he's
I just
trolling
hate you.
anyway, probably.
Yeah, I hate you.
I did actually reload the game and saw one little file download, like it just quickly flashed. So maybe that's why I wasn't able to log. So let me try that now. But yeah, I mean,
sure all
really,
the cards are in here.
yeah. Let's see if I get in.
Yeah, here's the new cards.
I'm gonna have to test out Gambit just in case they've snuck it in there just to surprise people.
Yeah, I
Ninja
want to
patch.
see if they have any other changes.
Oh, I'm sure there's probably a few things that they forgot to mention.
I'm
But
still
that
thinking
could be.
that there may be the possibility of Persecuted to double threshold, and that will be huge. And not to mention
No, I
think.
don't think Persecutors ever get double threshold because then it would just be like pretty bad.
No, it's still pretty good for Blood. For Mono Blood, it's still pretty good. The thing is, I don't like the direction of many removal cards being splashable. On Blood. I don't like that too much.
So I'm still trying to load.
I'm already in.
You scumbags.
So I will check
Alright,
quickly
well,
for the thresholds of stuff. Yeah, Persecute is still one threshold.
We're
Yeah.
going to be wrapping this up then and sending it over to Mythic.
So
Mythic should be
we're
going live
through,
in a bit, so please check him out.
He is actually up now.
Sweet. All right, everyone, go check
Oh.
out Mythic Fishmum. His channel.
I
Someone
just
pasted.
posted it.
There's the link
I
there.
just posted
He'll be streaming now or a couple minutes.
Yeah, no.
And then later on today, I'm sure there'll be someone else taking over from the team. And definitely come check us out. We'll have a show, hopefully sometime in the not too distant future. We'll get our first main show like this, just patch notes. Our main show is going to consist of a lot more things through deck building and as much stuff as we can fit in. It's going to be probably aiming for an hour show, and that'll be something we do pretty much each week. So that's something to look forward to.
We will be getting to that soon.
Really,
I would say thank you all for tuning in. Hope you had much fun, and you're all awesome. We don't have Mystic here to say that, but you are awesome. Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Yes,
Have a good night. Have a good day. And hope to see you tomorrow or the other days or whenever we are online.
All right, it's
Go
big
check out
time.
Mystic Fishmon.
Yeah, and
See
please
you guys
follow
all around.
Hashtags and all the people in there. If you like what you
Yeah,
saw here.
follow us all. The links are all below. You can see all the channels for all of us below the stream. You can click on the pictures of Bella and all that sort of stuff. You got Bella, and you got pictures of the guys down there, and to get to each individual stream. And appreciate the follows. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
See you guys.